Hey everybody, and welcome to the Inspired Disorder podcast. My name is Ray Taylor, and tonight I am joined by...
I'm Derek Helmer.
And I'm Justin King.
The Inspired Disorder podcast is a weekly art/geek culture podcast. We discuss topics ranging anywhere from tech to art to movies to video games and everything in between. We broadcast live Wednesday nights at 11:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and you can find that feed at inspireddisorder.com/live. Tonight we are recording at Tuesday night, starting around 11:30. And you can find the edited version of the podcast at inspireddisorder.com/podcast or in the iTunes Marketplace. In tonight's show, we are going to, in our year-ending finale, episode 17, we're going to be talking about the most pirated movies of 2009, according to Slash Film. Although I don't know if they came up with the story originally. And we are also going to be talking about the top 10 most popular stories on dig.com for the past year. And that is brought to Dig by Mashable. And then we're just going to go over some of our personal highlights or reflections on the past year and some of our New Year's resolutions to finish up this episode. So let's just get into this episode, guys.
Let's get it out.
Let's get it out. Starting with the most pirated movies of 2009. Now, this story I noticed via Twitter by Slash Film, which is Peter Soretta is the owner of slashfilm.com, and he posted this article, and it was extremely interesting. Basically, it is a small graph of I think it's about 10 movies and then how many downloads they've got, and they basically got sources from torrent trackers. So it's a collection from like Torrent Freak and other sources to kind of see how many downloads each of these movies has gotten over the torrent spaces online, the bootlegging, pirating ways of the internet. So what did you guys think of this particular list of these movies and such?
Well, for the most part, not too surprising, although a couple in there kind of snuck their way in, which I was, shocked at. But, it's kind of what you would expect,
Mm-hmm. Justin, what were your thoughts?
Similar to Derek's, there's one on here, Rock and Rolla, that got to number 3. That kind of shocked me a little bit. But other than that, pretty straightforward. Most of the ones that have some good buzz are on here. Definitely Star Trek. The list also doesn't include Avatar, which is I guess it's not updated for Avatar, because I've seen Avatar be huge on BitTorrent sites recently.
Yeah,
I'm sure that's in the tens of thousands already. But yeah, not too surprising, except for a couple like Derek said.
Well, yeah, but okay, let's go over the list.
Down.
I guess at the bottom of the list, which how many is on here? 5.
We have
looks like 10.
See, yeah, 10.
At the bottom, number 10 is Knowing.
Nicolas Cage.
Nicolas Cage.
Really?
Yeah. Then X-Men Origins Wolverine.
Which that one had a lot of buzz behind it because that one leaked like a month and a half before the movie came out.
Exactly, so. Yeah. And
so that makes sense.
Yeah, which I actually thought that would be a lot higher up because of that, because it was very newsworthy and, just a lot of people downloaded that just because they knew it was out and it was pre-release. So I could think that would be even larger. That would be larger than all of that. That would almost be number 1 in my opinion. Just because
I would agree with
that, the word of mouth and all that stuff. Above that is State of Play, which just to go back real quick, Knowing was a little over, probably around 7 million.
Yeah, somewhere in that range.
Of downloads, which how accurate these numbers are is hard to say.
Who's keeping track?
But according to this information, and then slightly above that, slightly less than, a little over 7 million was X-Men Origins, the Wolverine movie, and then just above that is State of Play, which I don't understand why this. Did you either of you guys see this movie?
I'm about halfway through it, but I stopped it because Jennifer wanted to watch it, so I haven't finished yet. But
did that one have? Is that Russell Crowe and Leonardo DiCaprio are in that, right?
No. State of Play is Russell Crowe and somebody else. It's mainly a Russell Crowe film.
Yeah, that one, the one you're thinking of was
Body of Lies.
Body of Lies. Yeah, that's Ridley Scott. Yeah.
Yeah.
Then above that is Harry Potter, the last Harry Potter, which is over 7.1 or 7.5 million, which that's understandable. That was a huge one this year. Then District 9. Oh, go ahead.
I'm a little surprised that Harry Potter is that down on the list, but I'm guessing, like when you get to these top ones, then you kind of really more understand who's exactly downloading these things. Like, I don't know. Harry Potter is kind of in a very like niche category of certain kind of downloader, I think.
Well, I'm sure a huge portion of the demographic for that movie is too young to really know about pirating.
Right. Yeah.
So I guess that could be an excuse, or people like us who are a little older than, like, we've kind of weaned ourselves off of the whole pirating thing. We probably wouldn't, we have Netflix, so we can just rent it, or have access to free movies in the theater, so we can just go see it in the theater for free if we really wanted to. But then above that is District 9, which I could totally see this movie on there, because of the buzz behind it, and two, because there was probably a lot of people that weren't sure about it, which I know when I used to pirate movies, or a friend I knew used to pirate movies, I should say. It was usually because they were unsure. It was a movie where it's like, I didn't want to spend, they didn't want to spend, $10 at a movie theater, or wait for it to come out on movie and then spend another $5 for it to be a crappy movie. So I can understand that one being up there. The next one, however, is kind of strange. It's Twilight.
Is this Twilight 1 they're talking about?
Yeah.
That's what it appears to be.
It appears to be the first one. And it's either, because the demographic for that movie, like, franchise, are tween girls, which I wouldn't think they would be heavily, active in the pirate community necessarily. Do you guys agree with that?
I can't imagine that they would be.
Yeah. Like, most girls I know don't know what torrents are. I mean, there's a lot of guys I know that don't know what torrents are, or how to utilize torrents. So, the thing, but although I'm much older than this age bracket, so maybe the kids are more hip to the whole pirating thing than I am, or than I think they are.
What this could possibly be is guys whose girlfriends are making them go watch New Moon, and they're not going to go out and rent it. They don't want to be caught renting it. They're not going to buy it. Twilight to get caught up, with what the heck's this story about? So it's guys downloading Twilight out of embarrassment.
I don't think they would download it to catch up, though. Like, if a girlfriend wanted to take me, or a girl wanted to take me to go see, New Moon, which I probably wouldn't go anyway, the last thing I would want to do is, like, catch up. Like, I would not be concerned about what story I'm missing. I think it might be, like, guys that secretly want to see this, but don't want to go.
They won't get caught in the theater.
Yeah, they don't want to go buy it. They don't want any evidence. It's like, if this is like their fetish movie, they don't want anybody to know they're watching it. So that could possibly be it. Like, a lot of geek dudes, maybe they're doing research on, like, whoa, what are girls into? I need to watch this movie and study what they like, so I can be a glittery, anorexic dude, so they can be all hot on me.
Well, this could actually be a very geek movie, Twilight. Like, you know,
I
if you
don't
think about it, like
think
it
so.
is in a way sci-fi. If you take out all of the like cheesy teen melodrama out of it, you know, it almost has a sense of being a sci-fi movie. So I could see guys secretly
How
like, I
dare
dig
you?
it because it's got vampires in it, but at the same time, they're not going to admit that they like it.
How dare you, Derek?
Mm.
Defending this movie.
I
I haven't even seen it. Have
I'm not
you
a
seen
fan.
it?
I'll say that. I watched the first one when it was safe to before I knew what it was, and I still haven't seen New Moon. And
So you're one of the. And by the way, this one's almost. It's probably around like 8.6 million downloads. So you're
but at the
one of
same
those.
time, I won't say that I have not downloaded.
You know what? I would almost download this movie not to watch it, but just to pirate it, just for the sake of pirating it, so they would lose money or to just damage them in some way.
Well, I couldn't even finish it actually when I watched it. I started it and like first off, it's Twilight, and I was like, I couldn't stand it in the theater because of how cheesy it was.
Mm-hmm.
And then so watching it at home, I'm like, okay, I'll give this movie another try. Maybe there's something to it because there's so many damn fans. And so I tried watching it again. Nope, still super cheesy. I'm like, I could almost look over that, but the audio quality was horrible.
Oh.
And so that was an instant nope.
Yeah.
So it would download for nothing.
All right. You redeemed yourself a bit.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. Then the next one, The Hangover, which I'm surprised this. I don't know. I'm not surprised it's in the top 10 or the top 5. But I could almost see this a little higher, I guess.
Yeah,
but
right.
I don't know.
Well, certainly higher than the next one.
Because well, generally, I mean, with bootlegged or pirated movies, they're not the highest quality. So getting a comedy, you don't really care about the quality as much, because you're not really seeing it for the special effects or anything like that. But you know, it's definitely, I could see that why it's way up there. The next one is Rock and Rolla, which is a Guy Ritchie movie, I believe, who recently directed the
Sherlock Holmes.
Thank you, my brain. Sounds a lot like Derek. That's awesome. Yeah, Sherlock Holmes, which was an awesome movie, by the way. If you guys haven't seen it, I highly recommend it.
I have not yet, but I plan on very soon.
Yeah,
he pulls off British very well. I'll say, Mr. Downey Jr. He did an excellent job.
Well, just like it's Guy Ritchie is a really good director when he's doing, you know, something that's not his regular type of thing. When it's not, you know, Snatch and Lock, Stock. Although I liked both of those movies, Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels and Snatch. But I know he's kind of gone down as far as reviews, and I think Rock and Rolla was the one previous to Sherlock Holmes. But Sherlock Holmes was awesome. I would totally go see that again.
Well, I would say that's his best movie to date, in my humble opinion.
Really?
Yeah, I really liked. Yeah,
I really liked it too. But I mean, you know, Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels and Snatch are awesome movies as well, in my opinion.
I would agree with that. Most definitely.
But yeah, definitely. This one's probably the most easily accessible for most people. Sherlock Holmes.
Oh yeah,
and Robert Downey Jr. is an amazing actor, and like the fight sequences, like just before each fight sequence, like how he runs through what he's gonna do in his head, and it's all
awesome.
Played out in his head in slow mo, and then he does it. That's like the best use of Guy Ritchie's like kind of style, because he does a lot of slow mo fighting stuff. That was like the best use of it implemented into the story, and that was totally awesome.
Well, yeah, I mean, you appreciate how smart the character is, you know, like when he's going through that.
Totally.
So, and he executes it so quickly.
Yeah. And even there was like really well known MMA fighters that were complimenting how accurate the fight sequences or styles were, which is rare for movies.
Especially when it comes to that category of fighting. I'm sure MMA is kind of overlooked in the general stuntman category.
Yeah, well, they kind of make it look stylish and not as effective like real life type stuff. So anyway, Rock and Rolla, I could see a lot of people getting that just because they're unsure because of Guy Ritchie's. You know, I mean, he has a good fan base, and I'm sure there's a lot of people that are unsure of his ability. But at the same time, I don't see it
Have you seen
number
this
3.
Rock and Roller?
No, I actually have. It's on Netflix Watch Instantly, actually, and
Is it really?
I still haven't watched
okay.
it. And
it's
I think it's starring Jason Statham too.
I think you're right.
So that's
Can't
another
imagine
reason.
a film of his that doesn't star Jason Statham.
That's true, or at least in it, because he's
Yeah.
not a main character in his first 2. But,
yeah, true.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and that's where Jason Statham came from, was Guy Ritchie movies.
Well,
for the
I will
most
not
part.
torrent this one, but I will watch it legally.
Yeah, it's on
Netflix.
Watch Instantly. So why need to?
Add to the queue.
Yeah. So the next one is one of the highest grossing movies of all time, or this year.
I believe so. I'm not sure
one
of
of
all
the
time,
top-
but definitely of this year.
It
Yeah.
broke records. I know that.
Right, right.
Maybe it was just like opening weekend or whatever.
It was a very short period of time, very like highest, like
Yeah.
getting up to 200,000. I think it was just a tad, like a hair underneath the Dark Knight.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah, Dark Knight broke like all kinds of records.
it broke everything pretty
Yeah.
much, So,
It broke the scale.
yeah.
So yeah, Transformers: Revenge of the Fallen, and I wouldn't even waste the bandwidth downloading it. I've never seen it. I have no desire to see it. I didn't like the first one, and I know Megan Fox is hot, but that's not enough for me to even steal this movie.
In its defense, it did have some pretty badass CG, but yeah, the story was so convoluted and drawn out, and the movie was like 2 hours and 4 or 5 minutes of just like this preachy story. It was just the same thing in the first one. It fell victim of the same formula of the first one, where it's like, the CG's nuts, but like everything's moving so quick you can't tell what's going on in the first place. You just see like mechs, like just insanity of just like moving parts on the screen. You can't even tell what's going on. So yeah, big waste in my opinion.
Did you see this one, Derek? I'm sure you did.
We played it at the IMAX theater,
Did you
so I've
watch it
seen
though?
it numerous times.
Okay.
I actually was a fan. I liked the first one a little bit better.
Yeah.
Just as a mere piece of entertainment. Like it is pretty crappy, but it's very entertaining to me.
Yeah, for eye candy purposes, yeah, they're both decent. You got Megan Fox in there. You got CG, Optimus Prime, and shit.
Yeah, I'm not even a Megan Fox fan. I actually detest the girl. Like, I can't even stand looking at her on screen, and especially like in the sequel here, it got harder to watch her. I guess because I've known, how much of a star she's become.
Yeah.
Since the first one, but yeah, I don't know. I never hopped on board her bandwagon.
I did, but
yeah.
not enough. Not enough to watch this steaming piece of.
The only reason to watch this
crap.
for me is the CGI work from ILM, because I think it's awesome, like animating these mechs, and I do like the sound design in the film. So
the sound was pretty awesome in that movie, I have to
admit.
admit.
I mean, it's pretty much just duplicated from the first one. The first one is really like the sound achievement in my thoughts, but I don't know. I liked it, and guess I'm not too surprised to see this, nearing the top of the chart.
Yeah.
But so there it is.
But the top movie is a movie we've all seen, if not multiple times. Star Trek, which J.J. Abrams' movie, probably one of the best movies of the year, especially for a summer blockbuster movie. So I don't see there's no argument as far as why that's on there. So are there any movies on this list that you think should be on that aren't?
Good question. Well, like I said earlier, Avatar should be on here, but I guess this graph they made here was, Avatar didn't come out till just 2 weeks ago now, so sort of late in the year. But yeah, I'd like to see where Avatar falls already at this point on this list, with only being out for 2 weeks now.
Derek, you have any to add to this list that
not really. I don't know. I mean, this kind of makes sense to me. Most of these, instead of adding, it's just there's a few in there, like The Knowing. That is shocking to me that that's on the list.
Well,
but
okay, go ahead.
No, I mean, I'm seeing how they wrote it up, that they're saying that this is clearly a film that people just weren't willing to pay for, but were interested in watching. So I guess that speaks for that. I actually liked The Knowing a lot.
Really? Yeah, I heard it was pretty good, except for like the end wasn't the greatest or something. There was some part of it that was
the end is the whole movie pretty much. Like
once you know the end, you look at the whole movie a different way. It's kind of like one of those kind of endings that it flips the script, sort of.
Yeah, like you can appreciate it a bit more. But I mean, not great work, but it's all right. State of Play, that is kind of surprising to me, because I didn't watch this one in theaters only because it was kind of like one of those under the radar Russell Crowe movies. You know, like we're kind of used to seeing him in this kind of manner where he's not. You know, I think Russell Crowe's awesome when he's in his action mode, but when he's just supposed to be like in this one, he's like a reporter. You know, there's not a whole lot there holding me to him. But
what about Inglourious Bastards?
Oh yeah,
right,
definitely.
You're right.
Forgot all about that.
That is the sound of minds blowing up on this podcast.
That is
seriously.
That was the whole. I was like, why? Like, out of the top 3 movies, probably for me, like of the summer, I guess, not of like recent movies, which most of this is summer. It looks like Star Trek, The Hangover, and Inglourious Bastards were like probably my top 3 summer movies. But yeah, that was. Oh, and definitely. District 9 should have been higher up, in my opinion. But yeah, Inglourious Bastards, I'm really surprised this isn't on there. That's not on here.
So, I'm sure it must be right underneath the knowing.
Yeah, it should be. It should be like above Transformers, I would think.
You would think,
or right up with Transformers, if not. Which, just to go back real quick, the Star Trek looks like on the graph it's around really close to 11 million. So Knowing started out at around 6.5, did we say? Or
about 7 for Knowing.
About 7 million.
Yeah.
And then it goes up to almost 11 million. And Transformers was probably around 10.5 maybe, it looks like. This is weird like numbers they put on the graph here. They're not very rounded off.
You know, Star Trek was the movie that got me away from torrents. I was like, I really wanted to watch it, and I would have loved like a DVD quality one, but there was no way I was going to watch a camcorder version of Star Trek. So this is what started me, and back in my old routine of actually getting to wait for the movies to come out on DVD. And, like I've never been one to download for the mere sake of like, oh, let's just torrent it. I'm not renting it. Like I'll pay for movies, I'll buy them, anything. But only when they're worthy of it. And so now this is kind of taking me back into that mode, Star Trek, where I actually bought it on DVD, as we mentioned in a previous episode. So I did not join the Star Trek 11 million download bandwagon either. Yeah, so take that, pirated movies.
Neither did I. Damn you.
So
I'll pay for movies from here on
out. There was a question on here about some guy. One of the comments on the article, he said that like if you go see the movie in a theater, you should be able to get like a discount when you buy it later.
That's a good point.
Now, what do you guys think? Do you think that buying like a movie or a Blu-ray, like a DVD or a Blu-ray, after you already went to go see the movie in theaters, like say Inglourious Bastards or Star Trek or any of the movies that you've seen this past year, and then it comes out on Blu-ray or DVD, and then you go buy it? Do you think that is fair? Do you think it's a form of like double dipping, as they call it? Because you buy a DVD, let's say, and then a year, 6 months later, they come out with the Ultimate Edition, and then you end up, it's like, well, now I have to get that. It's like if you get, Star Trek, and then it's just a stripped down version, and then all of a sudden J.J. Abrams, signature selection comes out, and you're like, well, now I have to fucking buy that. Do you think, going to see it in the theater and then going to buy it is somewhat double dipping for the,
yes and no. Now, like I think that buying a movie does not entitle you. You're paying for the movie experience in the theater. That doesn't necessarily entitle you to owning a piece of that movie from there on out. So I don't agree that just because you paid for it in the theater equals that I'll get $5 off the DVD purchase. However, seeing that we're viewing the decline of movie audiences in general going to the theaters, paying for films. I think it would be actually a wise decision on the studio's behalf to do something along those lines. But, it's by no way a right.
Yeah. Justin, what do you think?
Well, Derek just took the words right out of my mouth. Damn it.
Sorry.
I pretty much agree with Derek on all points there. I mean, I think the movie experience should be its own separate experience, and you're paying for that experience. And just like Derek said, I think that the DVD, especially with all the stuff they include on the DVD, special features and bonus stuff, extended scenes, deleted scenes, alternate endings, that's reason enough to go ahead and buy the DVD, in my opinion. So yeah, I think they should be two separate entities. But I also agree with Derek on the fact if some movies did do this, I think it would actually bring a lot more people in the theaters and boost movie ticket sales in general. So
Yeah.
I think it's worth trying actually to see what it does for the industry.
Yeah,
Well,
that would.
of course, I say this like, and we're on the eve of like the greatest like holiday movie season that has been recollected since Titanic.
Yeah.
So I mean, people are going to the movies if the material is good enough. But,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Anyway,
Everybody. It's like when MP3s came out. Everybody's complaining how music sales are dropping and stuff. Yet like there were tons of records being broken, like when Eminem came out with his CD and all that crap. So it's like these records are being broken despite them complaining about declining sales. So I think the sales declining could be attributed to downloading or pirating, but I think it could also be attributed to just crappy movies that they're just shoveling out. Whether they're remakes or reboots or sequels or just pure crap that they're just trying to get out in theaters. I think that has a lot, like there's not a whole lot of original movies coming out. Everything's adapted from like a comic book or an old property like an old TV show or an old movie. So there's not a whole lot of original content coming out. So I think that attributes to it. But like you were saying, I don't think it's double dipping, but I think that would be definitely an interesting business model for a distributor to come up with, like a DVD or maybe a studio to come up with, like, if you go see their movie in theater and you submit you save your ticket, and when you go to buy it in the store, you get a certain percentage discount. Or similarly, if you buy like the first iteration of the DVD and they come out with or Blu-ray, and they come out with this special super uber edition, you can change that in for a percentage discount on the newer. That way, yes, they're double dipping, but at least you get some kind of compensation for already buying into the property early on.
Yeah.
So I think that would be an interesting business model, like kind of like a CD trader type thing, but movies to where they can track the fans of a movie, to where fans aren't buying 10 copies of the same movie just because they keep coming out with a new version of it.
Which,
whatever.
If you're a geek, you're prone to do.
Yeah.
Like this skips most of the general audience of DVD viewers, but if you're a geek, there's something that makes you an inherent collector, and so you have to go out there and buy that extra edition. So, if they had some sort of plan in order where we could actually get a discount. I know there are, like, I'm trying to think what this is. I think it's a Blu-ray exchange is what it is. If you buy it on DVD, like Warner Brothers, they were having a promotion.
HD DVD they had.
What was that?
If you bought their HD DVDs.
Oh, I see.
You can mail it in. Yeah, you can. Yeah, that was just the HD DVD thing.
I see. Well, that's a good sign, even right there. We're starting to see the beginning of the movie industry having a bit of a heart when they understand that DVD purchases are, you're buying it a lot of times. So if we could see some love from them at this point, but now the economy is getting back to shaping up a little bit. Probably won't happen now. It was kind of like one of their little tactics during the downturn.
Although, if Fox is, or not necessarily Fox, but was it Miramax or the Weinstein company? Because their only big movie was Inglourious Bastards.
Yeah.
And they're basically a company that's almost gone, if not already gone. If a company like that's in trouble kind of instituted something like that, or maybe Fox after, a couple more years of no Avatar and they keep putting out crap, maybe, that could be something that could almost save them just to draw interest to their movies. Right. Possibly, I guess, but they'd still have to be, it all comes down to putting out good movies. So,
Step one, folks. You got to make the movie.
It's content.
Give us better shit to look at.
Yeah, exactly.
Pretty stuff like Avatar and Star Trek with lots of motion blur and
Yeah.
and lights.
Yeah.
All right.
Lens flare. All
Lens
right.
flare. That's the word I'm
Yeah.
looking for. There it is.
Yeah. So moving on. Enough with the pirated movies of the last year.
By the way, the Inspired Disorder podcast does not promote torrenting.
Oh no, definitely not.
Or endorse it, or do it ourselves. We swear.
Exactly. We've all moved. That was in our past.
That was the past.
That was
all
in
right?
our past.
We're all clean
exactly.
now.
Back when Napster was big.
That's right.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Which I can't imagine downloading a movie back then, but
oh man, can you imagine? Like a week.
Yeah. So next topic is the top 10 dig stories of 09.
Woohoo.
Which I'm sure a lot of our listeners are familiar with Dig. But basically, for those who aren't, Dig is a service or a site where you can submit stories that you find at other websites, and depending on the popularity, the other members of Dig can vote that story up or down, and then the most popular stories, get popular, and whatever. So anyway, we're gonna go over some of the most popular stories of the past year on Dig. So the stories that have gotten the most digs on dig.com. So yeah. Let's see here. Are there? I guess we could just start at the top and work our way down.
All right.
Sound good?
Let's do it.
Yes.
Let's get it out.
Which kind of these first ones I'm more familiar with than some of the latter. But so number 10, with 1,100 or 11,200 plus digs, is the story why. Oh, this is why I love Dig, and it's a picture, which, it's basically a picture of a comment thread, and it is, the post was, where's the post at? What was the original post on that?
Image Shack.
Image Shack.
That's all I'm seeing.
Wait, no, let's see.
Are you talking about from the original, the list of stories?
The picture, the actual picture.
The picture is just something that's up over at Image Shack. It looks like it's from Dig itself.
Yeah. Anyway, I don't know what the comments were on, but it was comments. It
was Bohemian Rhapsody.
The song Queen. It was. I'm trying to find where the comments originated. But anyway, yeah. So it's basically each comment on this story was a new line from Bohemian Rhapsody, the popular Queen song. And each, member kind of added their comment to it to add to the song lyrics, which is pretty awesome. And I haven't heard of that. Did you guys hear that story?
I did not hear of this, no, until seeing it on this top 10 article you brought to our attention, right, Taylor?
Yeah, so apparently not big enough if it missed all three of our eyes.
Yeah, which it was a picture of, this comment thread, which I don't know what story it was for.
Yeah, it really doesn't show what the story origination was.
So anyway, a girlfriend's angry emails to her vacationing boyfriend. Did you guys see this video?
I did see this. Yeah, I think that this was brought up on the Dig reel. I'm pretty sure.
I think they only showed like a part of it. Derek, are you familiar with this?
I did. I read the actual original letters when they were posted on Dig, and so I never saw this video. But yeah, it's pretty great.
It's basically like, I think there's music in the background, and then it just like, it fades into the letter and it kind of reads through it, and then he like puts his rebuttal to it. It's like, my phone wasn't even working when I was gone and stuff like that. But it basically, the premise for the video, which, do you guys know if it's real or if it was just a really good idea? It seemed real.
It seems real to me.
Plausible.
It's on College Humor, so you can't be too sure.
Exactly. Yeah. That's why I'm curious to know if it's real or not. But basically, the premise for the video is this guy goes, he's summer vacation, he's going with his friends to Europe for a month or so or whatever, and despite telling his girlfriend that he's going, and then, whatever, he leaves, his cell phone doesn't work overseas, so he's not able to receive any calls from her, but she, for whatever reason, doesn't remember that he told her that he was going, or didn't believe. I don't know what I forget what that whole part was, if she didn't remember, didn't think, but she couldn't get a hold of him, so she thinks that he's just ignoring her, and then it kind of escalates into a whole thing of her thinking he's cheating on her, and then she's gonna get back at him and all this stuff. And he basically, the whole premise is that he gets back from his vacation and sees all these emails from her, and I don't know if he got any voicemails, but all these emails from her, and it's this whole crazy thing where, I don't really want to spoil it because I think everybody should go see it.
Yeah, it's worth watching.
It's definitely it's funny as hell, and actually pretty sad.
If this girl is real and this is a real situation, she is psychotic. That's what I have to say
I feel sorry for this dude.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, just type in, just Google girlfriend's angry emails to her vacationing boyfriend. Right now it's got 11,769 digs, and it's actually pretty funny, and kind of an insight on how crazy some people can get, just if when their imagination goes crazy and they're mentally unstable in somewhat. Anyway, number 8, Apple introduces revolutionary new laptop with no keyboard.
This was a great video.
Yes. Which, Justin, did you see this one too?
I sure did. Yeah, I saw this, I think, on Dig Grill also when this first came out. Dig Grill's a podcast on Revision 3, by the way. I keep mentioning it, so I had to say that.
It features the top video submissions to Dig.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So yeah, this is an Onion article or video, which, if anybody's unfamiliar with the Onion, it's basically a fake news channel or site. So they do fake news articles, they do fake news videos, but they produce them in such a way that they look extremely real. And this one was, basically Apple introducing this new laptop without a keyboard, and instead of a keyboard, it was the click wheel that you would find on an iPod Classic, or
just gigantic. It looked like a huge iPod Nano that could bend in half. It was hilarious.
Yeah. So anyway, number 7, with 11,800 plus digs, is another video of Mythbusters vaporize a car with a rocket sled going 650 miles per hour.
Yes, this is one of those amazing things I've ever seen. And Mythbusters, thank you so much for just having a badass show and doing badass things all the time and just blowing our minds with science. This is one of the craziest things they've ever done, if not the craziest thing they've ever done so far in their show, in my opinion.
That was pretty good.
It's probably the most destructive thing they've done.
Oh yeah, I mean that car turns into mist. It's just crazy how the car they vaporize is just it's insane. It just turns into dust.
Yeah. So you a big fan of the Mythbusters, Derek?
I am. I don't watch religiously, but I do anytime it's on, and I have nothing else to watch. I always turn back to them, and so very cool show. I did see this on Dig when it originally appeared, and actually I don't know, the title of it sounds even more iconic than the actual video of it was, but it's still a really cool video.
Yeah, definitely. I'm a huge. That was one of the things when I went from cable to no cable, missing the Discovery Channel and all those shows, and Mythbusters being one of them. But now with Netflix, there's a bunch of the Mythbusters DVDs or whatever on the watch instantly, which is awesome. But I don't think this particular episode is on there. But yeah, it's definitely a cool video. So the next one, number 6, with 12,200 plus digs, is AT&T blocks 4chan. Are either of you guys familiar with this story?
I am ignorant.
Justin?
Yes, as am I. I haven't had a chance to go through this whole thing.
What is 4chan? Does anyone?
Okay, well, 4chan is kind of, I don't know how to necessarily describe 4chan, but they're kind of, I don't know if they're an online community necessarily, or it's a person that just has a lot of control over online communities, like as far as
I'm looking it up right now.
Doing stuff, yeah. But basically,
I'm just curious.
They've done a lot of different things. Like, I think Times came out with one of a survey of the most influential people on the internet, and the 4chan group hacked the whole system to where 4chan was named number one, which kind of makes sense if they're able to, hack into the system. But they're very well known. They've done a lot of things against the Scientology movement. I think they were behind Anonymous when the Anonymous videos came up. But as far as this story, I'm not totally familiar with. But 4chan is
Wikipedia has 4chan as the English language image board website. Its boards are primarily used for the posting of pictures and discussion. So it's a message board website where everybody posts pictures.
4chan is not. That's not what 4chan is, though.
Well,
that's
all right.
Wikipedia. That's the wrong. That may be where they started, but
Derek just got served.
Yeah.
Bam! Shut down.
Let me see.
By a fellow geek.
No, it's because it's more than that. Jeez, dictionary. Let me see here. We'll keep. Kind of explain the article while I'm reading this, or just kind of go over the. There's a little summary thing. Just kind of read that.
All right. Well, let's do as we're told here. Lord knows I wouldn't want to piss you off twice in 5 minutes. Jeez. Okay, so AT&T, for whatever reason, I'm guessing this isn't like necessarily pertaining to their 3G internet service, but it's their AT&T like home subscriber line. They blocked the complete site of 4chan, image.4chan.org. Anyway, these are message boards, and well, that's about it.
You're right.
It's like a net neutrality issue from what it
seems.
Yeah. Make a long story short, anyways.
Yeah.
So possibly some of these images that they're posting are.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, that's what it is. But they have more control. Maybe I'm thinking it's 4chan though, but I don't know. Maybe they just disguise themselves at this.
They show a picture of the 4chan.org website.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like the image.
Yeah. As you're reading it, like actually reading the article, which I probably should have done. But they
anyway,
have a lot more
with
control
AT&T blocking it, it had to be a copyright issue.
Yeah,
the biggest like net neutrality issue that we've seen so far. An entire website being banned in the United States, which doesn't happen too often.
Yeah,
and should never happen ever again.
Period.
Yes. So moving on to number 5.
Yeah, screw you, 4chan. Sorry. Yeah. All right. And 4chan members out there, we're sorry. We don't know you.
Yeah, and if you want to help promote our podcast, feel free.
Graphics of Inspired Disorder podcast are available at inspireddisorder.com
to
post on 4chan as you will.
Yeah. So anyways, 12,800 digs plus digs. Number 5, the Pirate Bay trial. The official verdict: guilty
as charged.
So I'm assuming we all heard about this many times.
Yeah, I think we're all followers.
If you go on the internet, you've known about this or heard about this.
Exactly. So yeah, the Pirate Bay got sued by somebody. It wasn't the RIAA, but it was
multiple companies. It was the trial's based in Sweden, so it was the Swedish government that was pressing the charges against them. But yeah, multiple companies, TV studios, movie studios. I heard it was just a huge list of people suing him for copyright infringement and so on.
Exactly. So
well, it was
basically,
pretty entertaining trial though, just like all the different like ways around it. The Pirate Bay would try to say what they were doing, and it was just like they were not taking it seriously one bit. So this is actually one of the better stories I think in 2009.
I heard like the
definitely.
bail for these guys was like something around like 4 million or 3 million, which seems like a lot of money, but to these guys who are all rich, all the founders of Pirate Bay, they're just like, oh, here you go. But I believe
no, they said they wouldn't spend the money or pay the money. They said that they would rather like burn the money up and piss on it rather than give it to the government or something like that.
Oh, essentially,
nice. So they did not want to pay it. They were like,
well, I remember there was one part where they actually it somehow hacked a website where anytime like they were trying to take donations for their lawsuit or whatever, but something they hacked it somehow where the money would go to them every time somebody was donating. So they were ripping off like all the people that were prosecuting them in some way.
Yeah,
I wish I remember more about it, but I thought it was just like awesome. The Pirate Bay, man, those guys had some balls.
Yeah, they found some kind of loophole. I remember that. I think they talked about that on Twitter.
Yeah, that's where I heard about it.
They talked. It was like some loophole that they had that allowed them to get money for something that they shouldn't be getting money for to help pay for this fine. But I don't remember the details of it.
It had something to do with like the lawyers of the prosecution or something, as I remember.
But that would
money from them.
That would be a good, in like a few years, that would almost be a good movie. Like, the whole Pirate Bay story.
The Battle of Pirate Bay.
Oh yeah, more so than the story of Facebook, which is being made, I think.
And by a really one of my
year,
favorite directors.
An actual movie about it.
Yeah, and he's like one of my favorite directors, and he's directing.
Wait a minute, who's directing that?
It's the guy that did Fight Club and The Game and
what's his name?
Benjamin Button, and his name is oh Jesus.
Something like somebody.
I'm looking it up right now.
For some reason, I keep going to David Fincher, but
yes, that's it, David Fincher.
Is it?
Oh wow! Yeah. Ding 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 ding.
There you go.
All right.
Thank you for being faster than Google.
I don't know. I don't know how.
Yeah, it's David Fincher is directing it, which it's like a totally weird story for him to be directing.
Yeah, it's a weird choice.
Yeah. But whatever. Hopefully he'll be able to make it good. And I forget who the actors were that were going to be in it as well.
Well, there were some names in there, not like A-list, but definitely up in the second string.
Yeah.
People. So probably Jake Gyllenhaal or something,
Yeah, who knows.
Yeah.
But anyway, so Pirate Bay trial, they're guilty, and that's it.
Rest in peace, Pirate Bay.
So number 4, yeah. Well, I think they're still there, but they just don't serve up illegal torrents.
Yeah, it's there, but it's not the same. You didn't hear that from me. I heard that from somebody else who goes to those sites and download stuff.
Yeah. My friend never used Pirate Bay. He always used other ones, so he was never very familiar with them anyway. But
moving on.
So number 4 is with 14,300 plus digs. We Didn't Start the Flame War, which is a music video, again by College Humor. Either you guys familiar with this one?
No, I don't. I didn't see it, but is it like a spoof of the Billy Joel song, "We Didn't Start the Fire"?
Yeah, that's the song. That's the music of it. But then like the content was a little bit different. Justin, are you familiar?
Yeah, I just watched this about an hour ago for the first time.
Oh, okay.
Well, maybe more than that now, an hour and a half. But anyways, yeah, it's like it's basically making fun of all the assholes on the internet that as far as whenever people leave a comment, it's like it just turns into this rant of hatred and racism. It's all about that, and it's all about just assholes that post
just praise comments or something.
Yeah, it's all kinds of stuff. It's just about people talking shit on the internet. Is what it's kind of about,
like trolling and stuff like that.
Exactly.
But it's set to this song of
the pedo bears in it, and also the Admiral Akbar going, "It's a trap." That's all part of it too. They make fun of all that stuff in the video. It's
right. It was a good video though. Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Good. Yeah.
Right. I'll give it a shot.
And I'm not making fun of Billy Joel at all, because that song is definitely, if they were making fun of that song, I'd be pissed, because the song is classic and badass.
That's right.
So the number 3 story with 18,800 plus digs is the story of a prisoner, F95488. And it's kind of weird. Like, I was more familiar with the lesser known or lesser dug stories than this one, especially. But do either of you guys hear of this one at all before this?
I have not. No.
It was always something I saw like on the front page of
Really?
Dig, but I never clicked on it because I'm like, huh, what? Nah,
Who cares?
never mind.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there you
Yes.
go.
So basically, I didn't read the article, but I guess it was from ESPN magazine article. There was a soccer player that went to jail for he was convicted of raping somebody, I believe. And a lot of people were up in arms because they didn't believe that he did it. But he's like a big soccer star. I'm not sure where he's from though.
Well, Africa. That's all I can
Is
tell.
it okay?
Yeah.
But yeah, so
Ghana? Is that
okay.
Maybe I don't know.
Ghana.
Ghana.
Okay.
All right, so maybe.
I don't know.
Whatever.
I didn't read the article.
I'm pleading ignorance on this one as well.
Yeah, but it's kind of weird. Maybe it was more of an international hit, I guess, because soccer in the U.S. isn't very popular in mainstream anyway. So maybe it was some of the international diggers that jumped on that story. That's why we don't know about it.
Well, the gist of the story is that it's giving the rundown of all the details while he's still serving a sentence, and it's like calling forth people to. It's pretty much a petition,
to overturn.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So since it's got so many digs, it's got to be the
Okay, so that makes sense.
Yeah.
All right.
There you go.
Well, there you go. And,
I wonder how that turned out.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't even know.
There's no follow-up. That's obviously it wasn't as popular as this story.
Apparently.
Yeah, or they're probably still working on it, I'm sure.
Well, hopefully true justice is served and he gets released.
Or
Yeah.
as long as he's innocent.
As long as he's innocent.
Yeah, which I don't know any of the
Which we're
details.
not sure yet. So.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
so
right.
anyway, number 2, the second most popular story of the past the past year, with 24,900 plus digs, is Michael Jackson dies.
Are you serious? He's dead?
Yeah, dude, I'm sorry.
What?
Yeah. And a lot of people dug that he's dead. So I don't know what that says about society. A lot of people are digging the fact that he's dead.
This is kind of a blunt way to take a look at it there, Ray. I didn't really realize that.
Yeah.
People are
exactly.
It's a very dark way to put it.
Up, you know?
Yeah.
People are digging that he's dead.
People were excited to promote his death. No, but yeah, so definitely I have heard of this story. However, it wasn't through Dig. It was pretty much any celebrity that dies you find out first through Twitter. That's like
typically breaking news online on Twitter.
Yeah, the obituaries in high speed celebrity obituaries is also called Twitter. So any celebrity that dies, you will find out first and foremost on Twitter. And Michael Jackson is no
exception.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, I was too busy reading up on the Farrah Fawcett death tweets, and then boom, there's Jackson as well. So.
It was all around the same time. There was a lot this year. Of like people that we are familiar with.
Yeah,
like
it's not one of those
celebrities,
like 50 and over crowd, that are remembering the fallen. But this definitely hit our generation.
Yeah. So well, you obviously all saw that. And then the number 1 story of dig.com this past year is with 25,500 plus digs is Barack Obama officially becomes the 44th American president.
What?
Yes. Yeah. Yes.
Barack Hussein Obama?
Yes. That happened before Michael Jackson died.
What a year.
Yeah.
Oh.
But so obviously that was a huge story in general this year. And then big news.
There you are.
And his campaign was heavily, heavily fueled by tech
social media
and social
driven,
media.
definitely.
So he definitely utilized MySpace and Facebook and Twitter and obviously Dig. So it's not that surprising that it was one of the top stories on a social news network, dig.com. So anyway, that was the top 10 stories of the past year.
Well,
and
what
stuff.
a year.
Yeah, and
What
stuff. What a year. Yeah.
So I like that we actually took this approach to it instead of coming up with a complete list of like highlights of 09. We find the top 10 Dig stories.
Yeah. Well, I was kind of looking for stuff was, the past, it's the end of the year. So the first one I saw was the movie thing, movie bootleg. So I was like, yeah, that'd be a good story to talk about,
No, totally. This totally pertains to.
And then,
our demographic.
Dig, I pull a lot of our topics from Dig. So why not, post? And they tend to have a good mix of stuff. So, it works out.
Well, and it works out nicely since we haven't been on for a full year yet, that we actually get to talk about these things.
Stuff that we haven't had a chance to talk about. Exactly.
There you go.
Yeah. So the retrospective, the end of 2010, will be a little bit more meaty.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah,
I'm sure. We can have clips of previous shows.
Exactly. Yeah.
I don't know. The flashback show.
We'll take like a few weeks off so I can just edit all the previous episodes together. So anyway, let's just move into some of our personal reflections on the past year, whether they be highlights or lowlights or just our thoughts on the past year. They could be personal or just personal thoughts on. We're an art and tech culture, geek culture podcast, so it could be, tech oriented or movie oriented. Just some of the big highlights of your year. Derek, why don't you kick it off with some of your looking back on the past year?
Well, it can be summed up in two ideas here. The first one, 2009, was definitely the year of the death of celebrity, for sure. Yeah, there's no way around it. There were a lot of people that died this year, and I don't know. I mean, I'm sure the numbers really aren't that higher than any other year. We just happen to be, familiar with who they are. But I think that goes for a lot of the internet generation period because there's a lot of internet talk. If like the I'm trying to think what his name, Jack Valenti, who was like the president of the Motion Picture Academy, in the 90s. If he passed away, you wouldn't see it on Twitter. Yeah. It just happens to be that we're seeing people that are kind of relevant to this era in time. So, big deal. 2009 was the death of all these folks, and very sad. But that's how it goes. And the other like major story that for an Apple fanboy following that lasted almost all year long was the departure of Steve Jobs from Apple, and then the reappearance, but that was a big thing. Like that was a key moment in the return, when he came back to Apple and beat the cancer and everything. And now he looks like he's doing all right. So that's I think a big story. And, he was up for Time Person of the Year.
Yeah.
He was in the top 7, he did not make the final cut, but I haven't heard who's making it. I don't think they've announced it yet, but yeah, I mean it's big enough deal that his endeavors were cataloged by Time magazine. So not that anyone reads Time magazine anymore. I don't think. The last time I picked up a Time magazine might have been maybe 1996. So
yeah,
but yeah, so those are like two big issues for 09 for me.
What about any personal highlights for you as far as 09 that you would personally look back as Derek Helmer that stood out for you?
Well, certainly this podcast, actually. And that's not just blowing smoke up the creator's ass here. No, actually.
Raise, sir.
There it is. No, yeah, 09 was the year I decided to be public on the internet. And yeah, so between the Inspired Disorder podcast and as well as Studio 20, yeah, that was a kind of a big deal. Yeah. I mean, whether or not the numbers for the shows are high or low, it definitely takes a lot of time and effort to put these things on. So, this only started for me back in over the summer in July is when we started putting together Studio 20. So half the year was spent working on these things. So that's a huge function for me, as well as my car accident and numerous acquaintance car accidents that have been going on. That's another highlight of 2009. God bless you. So that's my year in review. A lot of crap, a lot of bang ups, and watching jobs come back. So there we go.
Yeah. All right, Justin.
All right, Ray. All right, so you want me to go with noteworthy geek events for the first one. So I'll go and get into some of the noteworthy shit I witnessed this year. I think a big thing for all of us this year was the 3GS coming out in June. I know I was very happy with the 3GS when it first came out. The upgrade in memory, everything else. I thought that was a landmark in the history of Apple, and especially with Steve Jobs and whatnot. Those two are the biggest events from Apple, are definitely the Steve Jobs situation and the 3GS. So on the tablet, which who knows what's going to be happening here in the next few weeks, we'll find out. Also, Twitter and Facebook just got like gigantic this year. Like, just it was insane. I was watching, like, if you watch cable news, any news, they're talking about Twitter. This person tweeted out about this at this point, and especially like Facebook. Facebook just got insane this year. Just dominated MySpace. Like, MySpace is no longer in existence, it seems like, anymore because of Facebook. So definitely Twitter and Facebook are now dominating. They are the rulers. Also, FCC and net neutrality issues have been a big topic this year. I think we're going to see a lot of battles between the two, the internet one and the FCC two. So we'll see what happens with that. But those are some of the big stories, in my opinion, that happened in 2009.
Well, clearly somebody did his homework, and somebody's got some stories to talk about. Very good.
I did a little bit. Also, Avatar. I mean, Avatar was just insane. I mean, we've all seen it at this point, and I think as far as a noteworthy geek event, Avatar should be up there as well. I mean, it was.
You're definitely right about that. Yeah.
I mean, we have our complaints about the story and the dialogue, but just the 3D and how it was done, and just the quality of the computer graphics. It was just definitely a new milestone, a new precipice in a sense. So, for sure, Avatar. As far as personal highlights, I mean, as you guys might know, I've spent the past year jobless, looking for work. So this past year has been sort of strange. It's gone by very, very, very fast. Faster than any other year ever in my life, like by far. Ups and downs with that, but I'm looking definitely to getting a career here in 2010, I swear, with somebody. We'll see. Other than that, on a more positive note, I went to Chicago for the first time back in May. That was insane. I moved into Ray's condo in June. And that's when, shortly after is when the inspired disorder craziness began. I also got into the UFC this year, mostly because of Ray, and, going to watch fights with him at the Main Tap Tavern here in El Cajon. So the world of the UFC was exposed, and, it's crazy. I love it. Also, I went to 2 Charger games this year, one with Ray. That was awesome. The last game I went to was the Bengals game a couple Sundays ago, which was out of control experience of my life. And yeah, that was my year basically.
It's awesome. Sweet. Yeah, totally. As far as me, yeah, you guys said a lot of the stuff. I mean, the iPhone, the 3GS, it wasn't a huge thing necessarily, but for me, it was an upgrade from my first gen iPhone. So it was definitely cool to get the new snappier thing, and also just to see Steve Jobs come back and just kind of bring the excitement back for that whole stuff, which, like Justin said, hopefully they have an event planned for January, which rumors are they're going to be announcing their Ice Slate.
Ice Slate, yeah.
Yeah.
Ice Slate, that's what's going to be called?
Possibly.
Well, that's what it looks like.
That's a rumor that is
has
floating
some weight,
around.
though.
Yeah, there's a lot of weight to it. It's also, well, anyway, enough with that, the rumors.
Yeah,
but yeah, so but it was definitely the year that Twitter blew up. I mean, before this year, I mean, there was only a small handful of people that I actually knew on Twitter. Two of them being, Derek and Justin. So, after, the whole Ashton Kutcher thing, it blew up to where there's a lot more people that I actually know that are on Twitter, which is awesome. There's a lot more people on it. And then again, Facebook changed up their whole design. So I started using Facebook more and actually have deleted my MySpace page since. So I don't even have a MySpace anymore. But this year, as far as art and geek stuff, I mean, I was in an art show that it's been a while, and it's probably going to be a while before I'm in another one, just because I'm starting from scratch. My friend that was the art promoter in this area is no longer in this area. However, she's going to be a co-host for some special episodes of the podcast. To kind of bring art back into some more art into the art and geek part of it. So, it was cool to get in the shows and see her again and just kind of, connect with some people that I haven't connected with. Obviously, on a personal note, getting my condo, I moved in here at the end of February, which was big, really big for me. It's like if you had even 2 years ago you told me I was going to be buying a condo, I would have thought you were high or something. So
that
and
shit
then
crazy.
Yeah, and then just the whole creation of the new website. After I had moved, just the whole hiatus I had taken, because it's been probably about 2 years that I've just taken from today. Anyway, it's been 2 years that I just kind of take a break from everything. Like I had my old website and the whole Billy Dallas show and all that stuff, and I just kind of took a break from everything while I was trying to find a new place to live, and find my condo. And after I moved in here, a few months after that, my old website expired, and instead of renewing it, I took the opportunity to create something new, something that was a little bit more personal, and something just a little bit just to kind of grow from what I had done before. So that was inspireddisorder.com, and I wanted to do a podcast, like an actual just a audio podcast, because I started listening to podcasts. So audio podcasts were big for me this year, which is kind of funny because that was the first type of podcast. So starting my own audio podcast was kind of one of the things that I really wanted to do, and I wanted it to kind of be linked with the website. And and thanks to my great friends, Derek Helmer and Justin King, we've been able to do 17 episodes so far weekly. Like, we haven't missed a week yet, and it's just gonna get better.
Impressive, gentlemen.
In the new year, yeah.
We do have a very fearless leader in you, Ray. So yeah. I thank you for inviting me on the journey here. Yeah, well, it's been very rewarding.
It's especially through this holiday season. It's been tough. Just with everything going on and rescheduling and all that. Just trying to get the motivation to just edit the damn thing. But yeah, this is definitely something that I'm hopeful. I'm proud of. The website I'm proud of, and I'm definitely looking forward to just getting. Well, I guess that's the next part, our next topic. But for the past year, I'm just thankful for. It's kind of been like a new beginning, laying the foundation of a lot of new things. And just technology in general, it's becoming a lot more mainstream as far as new media and stuff like that, which definitely opens up a lot of the things that I want to do to make it more accessible to a lot more people. And a lot more people are more in know of the things like Twitter and Facebook and podcasts and just, internet TV with Hulu and all that stuff. And the more, technology people get accustomed to, just the regular person, the better it is for us, So yeah, it's been an awesome end to a year and a bright, shining, new start, for all of us in the new year. So let's just kind of move into our next topic and just talk about some, a lot of people call them New Year's resolutions. I've never really had New Year's resolutions. You might call them goals. But what are some things that you're hopeful for in the new year? Let's just go start with Derek again.
Okay, well, my first resolution is that I have a blog, and now I really need to start doing stuff with it. So, yeah, my resolution is to definitely post a lot more often than I do, and it's one of those things that's just easy to forget. Like, oh yeah, I haven't posted in a while. It's not like I don't voluntarily ignore it. It's just kind of floats by the wayside. But yeah, so DerekHelmer.com is gonna get some more personal tidbits from me going on here next year. And then actually, this is my tech resolution, is that 2010 will be the year that I abandon regular commercial cable TV or satellite and go strictly internet video. I'm going to try it for a year, see if I can get by the whole year. Now, it's going to be a little difficult because there's a lot of people I know that have, DirecTV or cable or something. So I am going to be making my damnedest to be sure that anything I consume is going to be from the web. So I want to see if there's enough content out there that can get me through, and I'm pretty sure there is. So
let me just give you some encouragement. I did the same thing when I got rid of roommates and I moved out on my own. What was it, like 3 years ago, I think? And at that time, there was no Netflix streaming, there was no Hulu, and all I had were movies. And then it took like maybe 6 months or so before I even discovered podcasts. So that was before even Revision 3 that I had discovered that stuff. So it was pretty tough. But now, seriously, now with you have just with Hulu and Netflix and then also podcasts, there's so much content out there. It's hard for me to even keep up with, the stuff I have now. The only thing I regret or wish I had were sports, basically, whether it be football or UFC. But both of those I can just go to a sports bar and watch those. And it's fine. But yeah, I can understand your hesitation, or your not hesitation, but maybe your concerns. But there's definitely a lot of content out there, and and maybe it may focus your energy on things that you wouldn't normally have watched but wanted to watch, and you you get more of a rich experience because you're just not watching whatever the hell's on.
Yeah. So here's the 2010.
Awesome.
OTV.
So Justin King, what about you, man?
As far as resolutions go, definitely along with Derek, as far as updating my blog more, and also getting out there and using Photoshop and my skills in Illustrator more, and growing in my portfolio, because that is my eventual career goal. I want to be a graphic artist for a living, damn it. So I need to get my shit going there. So definitely that. Also, I need to just get a job. Period. Yeah. Sounds ridiculous, but yeah, I've been unemployed for a while now. I need to start doing something here real soon. So that's another resolution of mine. Other than that, I don't know. I think those are the only things I have to do anytime soon or something.
Yeah. Well, that's good, man.
That's good news then.
Yeah. Those are definitely good goals to have. And with your graphic design and Illustrator stuff, if you ever want to create anything for the podcast,
definitely
do it. And
yes, I will, and very soon.
Yeah, so awesome, guys. Yeah, mine, I kind of talked about them before. I have a lot this year. Most of them are goals. I have the typical New Year's resolution as far as getting back into shape. I'm working, which I already started on it. I didn't wait for the new year, but I'm kind of watching what I eat and working out again and things like that. So just trying to get back into shape. and just trying to get everything organized again, because I have a lot of the goals for this new year require. I mean, there's going to be a lot of things on my plate, so being able to organize all those things is definitely going to be something I need to work on, so I can maintain them, because obviously I want to keep going with this podcast and grow this podcast, but I need to start creating my art again, regardless of shows. I just need to start working on those projects, getting more guests for the show, and also just kind of doing the special editions of the show with my friend Jill up in San Francisco. I wouldn't mind starting. Well, I want to get going the Billy Dallas show again, and then maybe starting to produce. Maybe not being a part of or any of that, but maybe if somebody else wants to do a podcast, I could take care of a lot of the production stuff side of it, and give it a home. Maybe expand the network, I guess you could say. That's kind of a farther out thing. And then I have some much larger projects that I'm working on as far as Inspired Disorder. Some like real world projects that I want to do, that I have some meetings lined up with some people to see if I can get those started, which those are more ideas that are a few years out. So but I need to start on them now, that way by the time they're ready, it's all ready to go. But yeah, it's basically a lot of my focus is going to be on the website and just my art and stuff like that. But yeah, so
very worthy goals, and yeah, here's to the new year.
Good luck to you both in your goals. I must say,
you as well.
So happy 2010 for all of you.
Exactly, and to 52 more episodes next year. Because
there you go.
Weekly thing.
Let's hope we don't get canceled.
Yeah, right. I don't know. I think I got a word with the studio head, so
I think we got our foot in the door.
Okay.
All right,
yeah.
good.
Yeah. So let's just move on to our weekly recommendations for the week. This is a weekly segment where we just recommend whatever it is we're into. It could be a range of things, anywhere from applications to movies to gadgets to websites to video games to books, just whatever it is that we've been into recently that we want to recommend to our listeners. This is the forum where we recommend those things. And just a quick note, most of the times we recommend stuff, the other guys end up using it. So it's like, we all kind of end up taking all of our recommendations, which is kind of good, because, that means they're good. So, let's just start. Justin, what's your recommendation for the week?
Well, this week I'm going to recommend a show that's been on Showtime now for the past 4 years. I'm sure you guys are all familiar with it, or actually have heard of it at least. It's called Dexter. Season 4 just finished up, and it was definitely by far the most insane season. John Lithgow was the serial killer this season, and just was perfectly cast as the role of the Trinity Killer. And yeah, Dexter, it's basically about this blood splatter analyst for the FBI, or I'm sorry, for the Miami Police Department, who on the side likes to kill people who escape justice for fun. Just to, he does it his own very hygienic way, and it's you have to watch the show. It's been on for 4 seasons now. I had to recommend it because it's one of my favorite shows, and like I said, season 4 is the most insane season yet so far. So watch it now if you haven't watched it yet. It's Dexter. It's on Showtime.
And he doesn't just kill like random people. Like, he's a vigilante, like
exactly. He's like a
Batman type guy.
Yeah.
He kills people that he feels are bad people that deserve it.
And he uses his connections with the police department, him being a blood splatter analyst to every extent, and he's very smart about the way he goes about things, and it's just an amazing show. You have to watch it now if you haven't watched it yet.
Derek, have you watched that show?
I've seen the first 3 episodes,
Okay.
thanks to Netflix. But I've gotten distracted by other shows. But I definitely liked what I saw, so
Awesome.
I'll be returning to it.
It's definitely good. Yeah, I saw the first 2 seasons, and then I just recently started the third season. And it's this first season's really good. The second season's it's okay.
Yeah, I agree.
And then the third season, like it seems like it's starting to pick up. Like it seems really interesting. It took a few episodes to kind of get into it, and from what I've heard, the fourth season is awesome. And yes, I've heard the same things about John Lithgow as far as his casting and just his character have been awesome. So definitely looking forward to getting to that point. And it's really really cool show. Yeah, for sure. So Derek Helmer, what is your recommendation for the week?
Well, this week I have medias. let me restart this here. This week, I gotta lay off the booze, man.
Yeah, geez, man.
Yeah, no. This week I'm recommending a new media center for OS 10. It's called Plex. Now it's been out for a little while. Of course, we all know Boxy, and we all love Boxy. Plex is boxy but pretty. Because that's the real downside with Boxy is that it's not visually appealing. It's a little bit harder to find your shows on Boxy. Plex just looks awesome. And it looks like very professional. It looks like you paid to have the system set up on your computer. So it's a media server, so it'll play everything that's on your library. There's over 100 different online video and image sources that you can play content from. So this is going to help me in my New Year endeavor to watch everything. But yeah, they have just apps for watching Apple trailers. You can watch CNN, the Colbert Report, Netflix, NBC, MTV, Revision 3, Hulu. So
Wow.
yeah, just to name a few. Tons of plugins and very appealing. It's free. You can find it at plexapp.com, plexapp.com. And very cool. It takes a little while to set up, though. It's not as like plug and play as Boxy is. You install Boxy and it does the rest, and you just watch your videos. This one actually takes a little bit of work setting up. So there's some excellent wiki forums to help you with that part of it. But Macworld, they've given it 4.5 stars out of 5. So
wow,
totally recommend Plex. It's only available for the Mac operating system, and it's only for Leopard or Snow Leopard. So some downsides, but if you try it, you'll definitely like that. It works really really smooth. It's really pretty interface. So go for it, Plex.
Awesome. Yeah, you told me about that, and I was like, and it's kind of crazy that it's integrated with Hulu, because
That's awesome.
I don't know if
I was going to ask you
Boxy
about
is
that like immediately. Is the Hulu question, but that's awesome that it has it.
Well, it has it, but I haven't even tried the Hulu portion
Okay.
of this media center, because if I go to Hulu, I usually just use the Hulu desktop app for anything, which works awesome. So I'm not sure if this plays like within a website and just blows up the image or how that works with Hulu, but I've been watching like all my Netflix streaming off of it, because for some reason over the last few weeks it stopped working on Boxy for me. Just out of nowhere, but download Plex, it works perfectly. The image quality is just about the same as on Boxy, so you're not losing anything, but you're not gaining anything.
Okay.
And I know you were talking about how on Netflix that the image quality of Netflix streaming on Xbox, the quality is a bit better, which I kind of agree with you. It looks a little bit blurrier, I notice, when you're watching on one of these media centers. But
yeah. Well, most of the stuff I watch on my computer, I just go to the site. Like if I go to Hulu, if I'm watching Hulu, I'll just go to hulu.com and watch it there. If I'm watching Netflix, I'll just go to Netflix and watch it there. I don't use Boxy on my computer. I don't use Hulu desktop. I used to use Boxy, but then I don't know, just for whatever reason, it's just I'll just open it up in a new window. Usually because I'm working on other stuff too, so I don't need it full screen. And then in the living room I have my Xbox hooked up, and watching, like, I've been watching a lot of Friday Night Lights, and that's one of the shows that's available in HD through Netflix Watch Instantly. And for some reason it looks amazing on like it's looks 720p on the projector in the living room, but like when I stream it through the website on my computer, it looks lower res. Like it starts out really pixelated, like at the very beginning, and then like a few seconds it kind of gets a little bit better, but it still is about just DVD quality. And it's kind of weird because the connection speeds are going to be faster on my computer because one, it's hooked up with a hard line, and I have the router and the modem in my room, so everything's like really short, right? Hard line to each other. Whereas the living room is on the opposite side of the condo, and it's wireless. Yet I get a better quality picture. So I don't know. Maybe just Xbox is set up for high def, where you're not able to stream high def through the website. That could possibly be it, but it's definitely something that I've noticed with Netflix. But it still looks really good on my computer, despite.
Well, I have the Xbox as well, but lately I'm just plugging my my MacBook into my TV.
Okay.
Through HDMI.
Yeah.
And for most of the stuff that I'm watching, it looks pretty awesome. You are watching most of it online streaming video, which can only be so good. You're happy with 480p if you get that.
Yeah, totally.
But, so it's as good as it can be right now. But yeah, I don't know. I'm totally going the media center route for everything, and I don't know. I tend not to use my Xbox as much for that. I don't know. I just figure it's on so much while I'm playing Call of Duty or something. Give it a break and just let the Mac take over. But yeah, Plex. It's
Sweet.
Very, very cool. So check it out if you're on a Mac.
I will. Yeah, totally. All right. So my recommendation for the week is actually a documentary, which you can find for free on Netflix Watch Instantly, as long as you're a Netflix subscriber. I'm sure you can find it at any movie rental store, as well as to rent it through Netflix if you want the hard copy. But it's a documentary, and the title is Beautiful Losers. It's a 2008 documentary. It features a bunch of different artists, popular artists from the 90s, a couple that you guys may have heard of. One of them is kind of obscure. He's a director, kind of obscure director, but I've actually been surprised at the people that have heard of him. He's directed probably the most notable movie is Gumo. Either of you guys heard of that one?
No.
Sorry.
Okay, that's okay. Not that many people have, but every once in a while I run into somebody that actually has. Anyway, his name is Harmony Korine, and he's directed a few other type of indie movie stuff. He's featured in this documentary, as well as somebody you may not know his name, but I know you've seen his work. Shepard Fairey.
Oh yeah.
He is most well known for the Obey images.
The Obama Hope picture.
Yes, and the Obama Hope stencil picture. So all the Obey stuff that you see is all his stuff. And then the famous Obama Hope poster stencil is his. And he's done a lot of other work. Those were two of many of the artists that were featured in this documentary. And basically it follows the lives and careers of this group of somewhat do-it-yourself artists and designers that basically they all create this kind of movement. They're born out of skating communities and like street art artists, and they all kind of came together. And there was a guy that started a gallery to do showings for his friends, just so they kind of had a place to show. It was more of a place just for them to hang out, and they all kind of gained notoriety just because they were doing a lot of artwork that was coming out of left field back in the 90s. And a lot of them, it kind of follows the story from them starting out to kind of where they went, where a lot of them got picked up by major corporations to do advertisements and things like that for them. So anywhere from like Pepsi commercials to lines of clothing to skateboard designs to posters to a lot of different things. And it basically just started from a bunch of outcast kids that kind of grouped together to just kind of create, to go to a place where they can create their art and get shown and stuff like that. It's a really inspiring documentary if you're an artist. It's definitely very inspiring and kind of shows you progression of artists and kind of where you could possibly go if you have a successful career, despite not going to school. Like all these guys were self-taught artists and things like that, and just kind of created from their hearts and just kind of from their own experiences. So it's definitely a movie that I had not seen until a week or so ago, and it was probably one of the most influential movies for me recently, as of recent, and probably it's one of my favorite documentaries of all time at this point, just because of how inspirational it is, and just kind of how it tracks their kind of rise and how I want that to mirror my type of progression as far as my art and what I want to create. As far as my goals that are a few years out, have a lot to do with this documentary. So if you're an artist, definitely check it out. If you're interested in art at all, like are curious to know about some of the artists, you can check. I mean, you can check out and see what the artists are, but I'm sure people are familiar with at least Shepard Fairey and his work. But if you want to see a lot of other artists, and when you watch it, there was a lot of artists that I've never heard of, but I definitely recognize their art, and I've seen it a zillion places, as well as just kind of that style, how it's been. A lot of other artists have kind of picked up on that and tried to emulate it in their own work. But it's definitely an amazing, inspirational documentary. So again, Beautiful Losers, rent it, buy it, watch it. It's highly recommended. So yeah, that's my recommendation for this week.
Sweet.
Nice.
Awesome.
Yeah, Shepard Fairey is one of my favorites, so I'm definitely up to watch that. I had no idea he was part of that documentary. So
I didn't either. Like, I started watching it just because it was one of those recommended movies on Netflix, one of those recommended documentaries, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna watch it. And then it was going through the opening credits, and then there was a few names on there that I recognized. I'm like, oh crap, this is about these people. And it's awesome to see where all these artists came from and where they started out at, and just kind of how they all gained popularity, kind of, coming together as a group, and just, it was almost like a band, but they all had their individual things that they were doing, but because they were all part of this whole collective, they were able to grow and help each other grow. But it's, definitely an awesome documentary. So yeah, it surprised me, and it definitely inspired me. So yeah, so let's just wrap up this episode, guys.
Let's do it.
Yes.
Okey-doke.
So where can we find, this is the part where we tell everybody where they can find us on the internet, find more of our work, find just, be able to connect with us on the internet. So Justin King, where can we find you on the internet?
Well, you can go to my blog at jkdesigns.squarespace.com. You can also follow me on Twitter. I'm on twitter.com/JustinKing1. That is a capital J, capital K, and the number 1. You can also friend me up on Facebook, facebook.com/JustinKing1. No capitals, and also the number 1. That is me on the world of internet.
Awesome. Derek Helmer, where can we find you?
Derek Helmer can be found at the Derek Helmer blog at derekhelmer.com. That's DerekHelmer.com. You can follow me on Twitter at twitter.com/Derek Helmer. And you can also see me on my other podcast, Studio 20, which is brought to you by blueeyedgirl.com. Girl spelled Gerl. And that is going to be going into production again very soon.
Awesome, dude.
Yeah.
So you can find me and all of my ramblings on Twitter. That's twitter.com/RayTaylor. You can join us all, friend us all up on the official Inspired Disorder social network at inspireddisorder.net. What was that noise?
It was Skype. I don't know.
Yeah, okay.
All right.
Yeah, I was like, who hung up? All right, so
That's what I thought too.
So you can friend us all up at inspireddisorder.net. You can see all of the work I do at inspireddisorder.com and all of my upcoming projects. I as well need to update my blog more regularly. But that's one of the many things that I need to start doing more regularly. But you can find all my work, whether it be fine art, creative writing, podcasts, all that junk, at inspireddisorder.com. And you can follow the updates for that at Twitter on twitter.com/inspireddisorder. There's no E in disorder.
Go to inspireddisorder.com/podcast where you can subscribe, comment, download, and view show notes, and also see all the back episodes. You can see the back episodes. You can listen to all the back episodes of the Inspired Disorder podcast.
And if you have any questions or suggestions, please feel free to email us at inspireddisorderpodcast@gmail.com. Once again, inspireddisorderpodcast@gmail.com.
That's awesome. And you can listen to us live every Wednesday night. Every Wednesday night? Does that sound right? Yes. On Wednesday nights at 11:30 p.m. at inspireddisorder.com/live.
We also have the inspireddisorder.com/store where you can get all your Inspired Disorder merchandise and podcast merchandise. Very cool selections in there. Go check them out.
And as well as buying our merchandise, you can also feel free to donate $10 or more to the podcast, and we will give you a shout out to you and your website. So, as I said, $10, we'll shout you out on the IDP.
And where can we find the place to donate that, Justin?
To donate that, let me see. Inspired Disorder Podcast at gmail.com.
No.
I
should have put that in there. That's my fault. You could go to inspireddisorder.com/podcast and there's a donate button.
Oh, that's right, the donate button.
Yeah.
I'm sorry,
so
Ray.
That's where you would donate your $10 or more.
Please don't beat him this week. Don't beat him. Yeah. He'll learn.
That's okay.
He'll learn.
I know.
My
hand is sore anyway. Yeah, totally. And if you want to be a guest on the show or be a sponsor for our show, send an email to inspireddisorderpodcast@gmail.com. And, let us know if you want to be a guest. Just let us know who you are, why you want to be a guest, and maybe we'll add you to the list. And if you want to be a sponsor, let us know what you want us to sponsor, and we'll get back to you. So awesome job tonight, guys.
Well, thank you, and same to you.
The last episode of 2009 for
Craziness.
the Inspired Disorder podcast. Thank you.
The last episode of this decade, actually.
That too, yeah. But we just started, so we've got a whole new decade to conquer.
There you go.
And that will be a long-running podcast if we do it the whole decade.
As long as 2012 doesn't go down.
Yeah, well, we might be live casting that event.
Be sure to follow us on Twitter to get all the latest 2012.
Exactly.
For December 21st, 2012 special.
Exactly. All right, guys. Well, have a great night. Have a wonderful and safe new year. And I will see you next year.
Very
For
cool.
sure. Looking forward to it.
All right, guys.
All right. Have a
Peace
safe
out.
holiday, everybody.
For sure. Crap, I forgot what I was gonna say. I was just like, I was closing some apps and I was like, oh wait, crap. Well, so go ahead and hang up. Go ahead. I'm glad you interrupted this podcast, Justin. Really, that meme died right after we talked about it.
Let you finish, Ray. Let me finish, but all right. So you want to hang up or what's the deal?
Hang up and I'll call you back.
All right. There we go.
I heard him trying to say stuff, and I was like, "Oh crap!" It's like I used to like classical, now I like hip hop. So what, bitch?
Oh, we lost Justin.
Oh shit, Justin, we lost you.
I saw something pop up, and I was like, "Oh wait a minute, I'm just on with Ray."
Oh shit, Justin is calling. We gotta call Justin back. And yet again,
it had to happen at some point.
This is the downside of naming the podcast Inspired Disorder. Right. I gotta call you back, dude. Okay. Yeah.
Well,
see, the funny thing is, Justin just walks into my room. So... Okay.
We're sorry, the number you have dialed is not in service at this time.